a wonderful evening, and thank you all for coming. Yeah, I have been trying to write a book for many years, and somehow it was not right because I was supposed to write about myself. And I found the subject of myself rather boring and tedious, you know, and I was wondering why. And some of my friends who have gone now, like Willie Khositsile and my brother Hugh, sometimes they wouldn't even want to speak to me because they said, why don't you write? You know, write the book, but I just couldn't. And about 8 years ago, I decided that I was going to write, and I went on a trip to find my grandfather in KwaZulu-Natal. And I went to the archives in Dundee, and I went to the archives in Ladysmith, and I found actually that there were quite a number of Walter Bowers that came to South Africa, and that all of them had come with the 42nd Infantry, I think it's called. And I found that there were actually about 3 or 4 Walter Bowers. So I still have not found my grandfather. And it's okay, because I think even my grandmother never found him.
You also write, though, that as was custom, and continues to be custom, when you are the grandmother, you almost have the additional responsibility and burden of having to look after your grandchildren. So your parents, through migrant labor, had to move. And after your mom gave birth to you, nursed you for 9 months and weaned you off the breast, you were then moved to Kwakuqa, the place of kneeling.
Yeah.
And in all that time, your wish, your desire was to be with your parents. You had a longing and a yearning for them.
Yeah. I wanted to write about that because I thought that shaped me, because I thought that there was a romanticization of grandmothers, that grandmothers raise their grandchildren, you know, and it's all sweet, you know, and you get spoiled, and, you know, but I didn't feel that as a child. I missed my parents. I wanted to be with my mother and my father. And I think it is something that has shaped my whole character, that I was not raised by my mother and father, and that my brother was, though, you know, that he went earlier on, you know, to live with my parents. And I think that I also became very close to my brother because he was closer to my parents, and somehow I could find my way to my parents through him, which I did because I was smarter than him at school. So I was able to do that, to make them remember me. You know,
because your parents wished for Brahu to become a medical doctor.
They wanted him to be my father particularly. He was going to be the first doctor in the Masekela family, and he never did. But no. I could write. My father loved my letters, and you know, they would give us the addresses of my aunts and uncles, and we were made to write to them very regularly, and we did, and they wrote back to us, you know, which is, I don't know if some of your students here, Vice Chancellor, if they can actually write a letter.
Really it is an amazingly well-written book. It's incredibly intimate and accessible. It teaches as well as makes you feel at the same time. And I've got 2 cousins of mine who are lined up to read my copy because I need for them to know the story. There might be 16 and 22, but they need to know the story of South Africa in order for them to make the right decisions.
The book has been well received. Following a launch at the Market Theatre in Johannesburg to rave reviews, the book was featured on the Exclusive Books Christmas list in 2021. I bought a few for my friends as Christmas gifts. The Nelson Mandela Foundation recently paid tribute to Barbara Masekela when they hosted a book launch for Poli Poli in early February this year at the site of the Nelson Mandela's first home in Gauteng, now called Sanctuary Mandela.
Thank you so much. We want to just do a very quick vote of thanks. We want to thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng, for hosting us, and this was her idea. Thank you very much. Obviously, we want to thank Uma for choosing to partner with us on this event, this very, very special event. It was an absolute privilege and a pleasure to be in your company this evening, and I'm sure a lot of people would have stayed and listened if we had the time, much longer. To Africa Melane also for partnering with us. And we have a very small token of our appreciation to give you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So for those of you who are leaving this venue and going home to sleep, I'd like you to know that Mamokgethi Masekela told me she's going to a party. I want to also just quickly acknowledge and thank our event partners, Exclusive Books, Linda McCullough, I think that they're outside, and Danny and Retief for partnering with us on this book launch event. They would like to become partners of UCT going forward, which is fantastic. And obviously, finally, thank you to all of you for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoyed the event, and we invite you now to enjoy refreshments.